योगः कर्मसु कौशलम्.
Namaskar friends, myself Professor Dr. Preeti Mayani from HRDC Gujarat University. I would like to welcome you all on behalf of HRDC Gujarat University in this our Guru Dakshata program. Friends, congratulations to all of you for choosing this HRDC. Once again, मैं तहे दिल से आप सभी का हार्दिक स्वागत करती हूँ. Today we have a very well-known resource person with us, Professor Dr. Gurudat Jhuppi. He is currently working as a head of the Department of Advanced Business Studies, University School of Commerce, Gujarat University, and Deputy Director of IQSC. He was associated as Director of Quality Assurance, Research and Innovation, Extension and Knowledge Consortium of Gujarat, Department of Education, Government of Gujarat. He was also worked as Nodal Officer, Gujarat State, RUSA. Before joining teaching profession, he had a year full of rich experience of working with Reliance Industry. Thereafter, from 2004 till date, he is into academics. He is qualified happiness practitioner and life coach from Transformation Academy, United States of America, and digital forensic expert. 6 faculty members have completed PhD under his guidance. He is the only faculty in India having copyright, trademark, and patents on his name. He has so far 15 intellectual property rights registered. He was also appointed as a member of drafting new national educational policy for India by the state government. He is also awarded by 13 national and international awards so far. 140 keynote addresses have been given, 119 research papers have been published, and 76 books have been published, of which 20 books are edited in the era of higher education. He is the youngest NEC peer team member and visited more than 10 colleges and universities as a member of coordinator and member of NEC. He is currently working in the area of archaeology of academic West in India. He has achieved so many degrees from India, as well as he has completed his MBA from Adam Smith University, USA. So friends, today we have very good resource person with us, Professor Dr. Jhuppi. He is my colleague and very good friend of HRDC. So I would like to invite Professor Jhuppi to deliver his lecture. I'm sure, friends, you have a very good time with Professor Dr. Jhuppi. So let's welcome Jhuppi, and again I would like to welcome you all on behalf of HRDC Gujarat University.
Good morning, everyone. This is Dr. Gurudatta Jhuppi, working as head of the department at Department Advanced Business Studies, Gujarat University, and also working as associate professor at University School of Commerce, Gujarat University. Today I'm assigned a topic called higher education and its ecosystem. So I'll be discussing about the history of higher education in India, the changing role of students, learners, teachers in the current pandemic situations, and what are the tools and techniques which can be used for teaching students, the digital natives, and at last, quality assurance measurements for this current non-formal education system. So I'll take a few seconds to share my screen first, and then we will start with the discussion. So, as you are aware that learning provides you two things, one information and other is knowledge. Information is necessary to update you while knowledge is necessary to transform you. I hope and wish my 1 hour or whatever session which I'm going to conduct today certainly help you in both the ways. In earlier 1980s, teachers were the monopoly of the knowledge, where they used to engage class and deliver the knowledge. Today, knowledge is not the monopoly of the teachers. Students get knowledge from the million of online sources available. And therefore, we say today Google Guru or Google Baba, which serves you all the information on the fingertips. The role of teacher is now limited to facilitation. To facilitate how students should get the right knowledge, how they should synthesize the knowledge from various resources available on various websites or various places. Students are not consumer of knowledge anymore now. They are the producer of the knowledge too. Uh, yes, but let me discuss first what is the objective of my session and what are the outcome of my session first. So to provide comprehensive overview of Indian higher education system, that is the main objective of my session. Not only in the current situation, but during pandemic and after pandemic, what will be the scenario of Indian higher education? That is also I'm going to discuss. Participants will be able to capture trends and practices in higher education. They'll understand the history of development of higher education, how the role of Indian higher education and various stakeholders have been changed, and tools and techniques which can be used by the teachers to the digital natives. What is digital natives? That I'm going to discuss later. But please make sure before you start, because as you're aware that last, we all of us in last 3 4 months, since last 3 4 months, we have been working a lot online. So please keep this checklist with you before you attend any kind of webinar, conference online. So keep yourself hydrated. Keep a water bottle with you because this will help you to have a better blood circulation and to keep level of oxygen in blood at par. Use digital equipment which are in good condition and having the latest features. As you are aware that a lot of organization and institutions, they are delivering sessions on various platforms which are available. Online platforms like Zoom, Google Meet, Cisco WebEx, and now a lot of other types of platforms are also coming up. So keep your digital equipment such a way that they can, easily equip with the latest applications and tools. Keep positive images, which keeps you motivated and happy. Like wherever you see it, you can see in the picture on the right hand side where you find certain pictures and certain photographs. So that will keep you motivated to do good work. Keep clock with you which is in working condition and keep track of time. So whenever you are attending any webinar sessions, delivering lectures, please be punctual in time. Allow sunlight and fresh air wherever you sit. So sit preferably where a sunlight comes. Timetable and schedule whichever you are going to follow, and follow the rules of the organizer if you are attending any kind of webinar or faculty development program or conferences. You have to be, abide with the rules of the organizers. So let me start with the history of. I'll not go in detail the history of higher education, but I'll just give you some few glimpses of higher education in India. As you are aware that we had a Gurukul system, a wonderful system where Guru Shishya Parampara we used to follow. You can see on the left hand side of your laptop, you'll find that that was the system where our early ancestor used to study. But as you are aware that the current situation is no more Gurukul system. We have been learning and we have been teaching to the university system. So what this university system, how it was started. So the structure of the university was firstly established by University of Korean in 859 AD. So Korean University was the first university in the world to start in a structural way. And then Al Azhar University of Egypt established in 970. But when we come to India, I'm not going to the medieval period, but when we come to India during colonial period, Serampore College, Howrah, West Bengal, was the first college in India, which was established in the year 1880. University of Roorkee, which was also known as Thomson College of Engineering at that time, 1847 it was established, and right now it is known as IIT Roorkee. It is very popular and one of the institute in top 500 of the world. Then, as you are aware, three universities by Britishers established in the year 1857. The three universities are University of Bombay, University of Madras, and University of Calcutta. When we talk about sources of knowledge, but before that, let me continue with the previous slide. That fine, university system was established by Al Azhar University, Korean University for the first time. But when we talk about research in university, which university started first? The concept of research or the degree of research. So Bolgana University was the first university in the world coined the term research, and they have started with three disciplines, that was law, medicine, and technology. So earlier, the research was restricted to these three disciplines only, and that is the reason why today, even today also, all parents are interested for the kids for technology field or medicine field or for law field. The reason is simple. It is the oldest field where the research was started first. But Yale University was the first university to avoid DPhil degree. DPhil means Doctorate of Philosophy, and Yale was the first university to avoid DPhil. The person who received the DPhil degree was Mr. James Morris Whitten, and you're surprised to know that his thesis was of only 6 pages, and he took 1 year of time to complete his PhD degree, defaulting at that time. So today you can see the number of pages and the quality of thesis is always questionable. And if you compare it with the person James Morris Whitten, you will surprise to know how DPhil was awarded at that time. Coming back to this knowledge, yes. Uh, the major question when we talk about university, the role of university is always to impart knowledge, to profess the truth. These two are the basic primary objective of the university. But what this knowledge means, how to get knowledge? Uh, there are majorly four sources to get the knowledge. The first source is the rationalism, second is the idealism, third is the empiricism, and fourth, which is our own monopoly, that is spiritual way of getting the knowledge. Empiricism is one of the source which is widely used across the globe, especially in India. We use this. Empiricism is nothing but a knowledge gained through experience. We generally learn a lot of things from the experience. Even we start walking through experience. Even we start speaking through experience. Even we start learning cycle through experience. Even on an average, one Indian learns around 80 percentage of its activity through empiricism. From Stone Age to Learning Age, the entire, if you see Stone Age lakhs of years before, 2 or 3 lakhs years before, and today a learning age, how this different age has been transformed from generation to generation, year to year, so just because of the application of knowledge. If an individual who knows well how to apply the knowledge or how to implement the knowledge, then only an individual can contribute to the GDP of the nation, or individually he can contribute to the nation. But let me tell you one thing, that there are two types of knowledge. One is called ability knowledge, and second is called prepositional knowledge. So far, in our higher education institutions, we have been imparting prepositional knowledge. Prepositional knowledge is nothing but it is a theoretical knowledge. So our kids, our students, they are very much comfortable in knowing the theory of the topic. But when it comes to the application or applicability of the theory, then they start fumbling. The reason is only that practical part or the ability part of the particular theory, they have not been taught in the higher education institutions. So I think the current government, the central government, has started working on this direction also, and therefore we have a different concept of Skills India, Make in India, and that is the reason why now ability knowledge is given more priority. Uh, One more thing, if ability knowledge is not served or not taught in the university or higher education institution, then we can say that students will remain consumers of the knowledge only. They will never become producer of the knowledge. So ability knowledge is must, along with prepositional knowledge, to make your student the producer of knowledge. Yes, types of education. There are basically three types of education. The first is called formal education. Second, non-formal education. And third, informal education. Now will ask me a question, that why non-formal and informal education? Both are same. I'll give you, there is a little difference between these three. Formal education means the education which we are taking right now at university campus. It is all about the campus-based education. So before pandemic started, we used to give formal education to our students. Students used to get formal education from colleges and universities. Then non-formal education. Non-formal education is nothing but it's an online education. Online education are the complementary and supplementary to formal education. A lot of, number of my colleagues, they used to make a comment that very soon there will be, online education in practice, and there will be no formal education system in our country or anywhere in the world. But I am of the opinion that non-formal education can never become mainstream education. The reason is very simple, that non-formal education subjugates the creativity. Online education subjugates the creativity, and therefore this can be the complementary or supplementary to the formal education system. It can never be the main part of the formal education system. So yes, so non-formal is all about our online education. The way right now MOOC courses we are enrolling, our students are enrolling, they are all non-formal types of education. And informal educations are the education which are given via social media applications. You know, we often say that WhatsApp University. I got to know this from the WhatsApp University. So WhatsApp, when you learn something from the WhatsApp, is nothing but it's an informal education, right? So when you blog something, when you write on Instagram or a LinkedIn or Twitter or on Facebook, these are all part of, or even Quora, these are all part of the informal education and not formal or non-formal education. So now all the learners and teachers should be very clear that how they are using these different types of education to teach their students. Now coming to generation of non-formal education, generation uh, of online education. So there are 5 generations. I must say that non-formal education is not the result of this pandemic. It was started, but it was started in a different form earlier. So non-formal education was there in India, in the world before 20 years, 30 years. Means online education was there, but in a different form. So we have right now 5 generations of this non-formal education. The first generation was correspondence learning. The type of learning which was imparted in the first generation was correspondence learning, where course material provided by speed post and even exams and the assignments were taken by the speed post. So that was the first generation of non-formal. The second generation was multimedia learning, where in multimedia learning some interactive material were prepared and CDs were used to impart the knowledge. So type of learning was multimedia learning in second generation, and CDs and floppies were widely used to teach the student. So that was the second generation of learning. The third generation was telelearning. Telelearning, where TV and radio were used. Uh, I think if you can recall your memory of English speaking courses through series, English speaking course through TV or radio, that was used somewhere in 90s, 95. Even immediately after LPG liberalization, privatization, globalization policy adopted by India. So even audio conferences and teleconferences were also part of this third generation of learning. So the first generation was correspondence learning, second generation was multimedia learning, third generation was telelearning. The fourth generation of learning was the flexible learning. Let me tell you one thing, that there is a major difference between fourth generation of learning and fifth generation of learning. In fourth generation of learning, internet were used to teach the students. But the difference between fourth and fifth was only that the fourth generation of learning courses were very expensive, too expensive, and therefore these MOOC courses were introduced in fifth generation of learning, and therefore this generation of learning is known as uh, uh, intelligent learning. The type of learning which is imparted in fifth generation is known as intelligent learning. So I just repeat the first generation correspondence learning, second generation multimedia learning, third tele-learning, fourth flexible learning, and fifth intelligent learning. There are 3 factors to be remembered when we are taking or imparting non-formal education. Very important. These three factors refers to the paradigm, from where and who is taking. A paradigm is about the discipline or the branch or a subject or a domain. Which domain it talks about, which paradigm, which subject it talks about, which discipline it talks about. That refers to paradigm. So one who is imparting or taking non-formal education or online education must remember that which discipline they want to go for, which discipline they want to learn. I would like to discuss one more thing, that we have four domains, we have four disciplines. The first is the disciplinarity, second is multidisciplinarity, third is interdisciplinarity, and fourth is transdisciplinarity. Now, if we talk about the difference between these four, disciplinarity means traveling in a single discipline, traveling in a single subject. That is disciplinarity. So even many researchers are also doing research in particular discipline, in particular subject. Even nowadays, a lot of MOOC courses are available for a particular discipline, particular subject. For example, if I say strategic management, if I say marketing management, so this refers to a specific discipline called management. Then it comes to multidisciplinarity. Multidisciplinarity means there are number of different subjects involved, differently, but there is no connection between each other. So that is known as multidisciplinarity. There is no interconnection. There is no integration between the subjects. That is multidisciplinarity. The third is interdisciplinarity. Interdisciplinarity, where you find there is a little integration between the subjects. For example, forensic accounting. So when we say forensic accounting, accounting is a specific discipline, one discipline, and forensic science is the another discipline. And when we integrate these two, then it is known as forensic. So there is an integration of two subjects that makes interdisciplinarity. And third is transdisciplinarity, where our UGC MHRD has already issued the research proposal. They have invited research proposal last year on transdisciplinarity research. Many of my colleagues, many of students, research scholars, they are asked that how it differentiate from the interdisciplinarity research. So let me tell you one thing, that there is again major difference between interdisciplinarity and transdisciplinarity. Transdisciplinarity is nothing but the little wider version of interdisciplinarity. I gave you example of forensic science and accounting. While in transdisciplinarity, there is a bigger integration of different subjects. There are more than four subjects, five subjects are involved in one particular research, in one particular discipline domain. So that makes it transdisciplinarity. But there is one more condition, that when you do research which is of transdisciplinarity nature, then it must be helpful to the public. So any research of transdisciplinarity nature must be for the public. There can be a huge beneficiary of the research that makes transdisciplinarity research. So just I was talking about the three factors to remember for non-formal education, and in that the first one, paradigm, means a students should be clear, teacher should be clear that in which discipline they want to work for, a single or a multiple or integrated or a wide integrated discipline. The second is from where. From where means it is about the specific region. So when we talk about a course, online MOOC course, then we should be very much clear that from where it comes. So if you are doing a course from United States and say the course is on the general laws, then in India it is of no use because that law is for the American citizens. So just for the information or knowledge, if you are learning, that is different thing. But whenever you are learning or imparting, you have to be very much clear for which country, for which region, for which specific country, continent, area, state, or city you have prepared this. Or it is available like it is a very generic course which anyone can learn from across the globe. For example, uh, if I want to design a course on happiness, so anyone from the world can enroll for this course. If I want to design a course on say life coach, then it can be useful for the entire world. But if I am designing a course called RTI, right to information, and that too for the Indian country, then I cannot sell that course or I cannot teach to the foreign students, right? It is limited to the specific region, that is the specific country. And third, the most important, who is talking? Who is talking? Because nowadays many private online players have entered into this business, and I've seen that even on the YouTube there are millions of videos which are available and thousands of videos available on a particular topic, and there is always a big question mark on the authenticity of a particular topic. So when you are learning, you have to be very much clear about this, that who is talking this particular, who is teaching this particular course, academician, professional, a doctor, a teacher, or the most important, just a one person without any qualification design a course and delivering the session. So this is very important to understand for the entire fraternity, that please check who is talking about the course. Even if you are learning through YouTube, you have to be very much clear about the biodata of a person who is talking about the course. Now coming to the learning theories, there are four major learning theories: behaviorism, cognitivism, constructivism, and connectivism. So I'll not go in detail about this all theories, but I'll just discuss about the inception of this theory, the way, how means what kind of knowledge you gain from this kind of learning theory, what are the best references available for this, and uh, what is the role of student and what is the role of teacher as far as this theory is concerned. So when we talk about the first learning theory was of behaviorism, it was practiced early in 20th century. To be very precise, from 1950 to 1960, this theory, learning theory, was practiced highly across the globe. When I say the best vessel means who cited this, who introduced a concept of this as learning theory. So there are two references for this. One is Pavlov, Pavlov. Pavlov has introduced in his book called Classical Conditioning in the year 1927. So he's almost 100 years old. So there you find, and there's one more, Skinner in 1938, operant conditioning, where these two talked about the behaviorism as a learning theory. So it is basically the study of observable behavior. Now coming to role of instructor, the role of instructor was very passive, means the control was very passive in this type of theory, and their role was to respond to learning and demonstrate level of performance on goals and objectives, while the role of student was instructor oriented, use of behavioral objectives were the main part of this. And certainly, this was outcome based education. Today, we are talking about outcome based. But if you refer to the behaviorism, theory of behaviorism, you will find that this outcome based education were very much there in this theory. Then, second is cognitivism. Cognitivism period was from 1960 to 1970. This particular learning theory was the learning of mind theory, learning theory of mind. When we talk about the researchers or the person who introduced this theory was Asubel in the year 1960, wrote in his book called Advanced Organizers. He talked about this particular theory called cognitivism in his book, and Gurney in 1985, where he talked about 9 events of instructions. So, 9 events of instruction you will find in detail if you refer this book about cognitivism. So, role of instructor in cognitivism was organizing content. So they used to organize the content for delivering particular topic. And the role of student were little active as compared to the previous one. And they organize information for successful information process. So these two were the role of students. The third theory, the third learning theory was constructivism. Constructivism, again, the period was from 1980 onwards. It was the study of social construction of knowledge and meaning. The research introduced related to learning theory by Jean Piaget in 1985, and he wrote in his book called Cognitive Constructivism, and Lev in 1978 in Social Constructivism, he talked about this theory. The role of instructor in constructivism was to facilitate, focus on integration of skills and knowledge in real world practice, while the role of students was as active participants and construct knowledge socially with peers. That was a main constructivism learning theory. Then connectivism, the current situation, the current learning theory is nothing but a part of connectivism. So it was introduced in the year 2000. So we are still following this learning theory of connectivism, where you can find a research in the year 1995 by Hutchison in a book called Socially Distributed Cognition, and by Siemens and Downs in 2005. They wrote a book on MOOC, Massive Open Online Courses. So, where in connectivism, the role of instructor was to teach and to demonstrate. Little teaching, bigger demonstrating. There is no relationship with an individual here, direct relationship. It prioritizes connection for learning. The role of students is to personalize choices and individually chosen curriculum. And to learn is to practice and reflect. These are the major role of connectivism. So these 4 learning theories are, you can say, the major learning theory, and right now we are following the connectivism as one of the learning. I'll not go in detail about various models of online education because I'll be discussing about a lot of tools one can use for delivering sessions. So yes, the blended learning, hybrid learning model. Blended learning is also known as hybrid learning model. Mobile learning model, the rotation model, the flex model, a la carte model, and the enriched value model. So these are the different models which are available for online education.